Welcome to Scorched Earth, and the first in a new series of tarot flick-throughs. Now, I'm a full-time tarot reader. This is my job. This is how I make my living. So, as you would expect, I have actually quite a number of tarot decks. Some of those are quite obscure. I've got them from Kickstarter or small indie publishers, things like that, and some of them are absolutely exquisite, and they just don't have the exposure that I feel that they deserve. They're real works of beauty. And so these videos, this series of videos that I'm putting out, is my attempt to rectify that to the best of my ability. Because I have a love of beautiful art, and I have a love of the darkness. I have a particular reverence for those tarot decks that manage to encompass both aspects. I've got Pluto in the 8th house, so I'm always looking for what is underneath. I cannot help myself, I'm born to it. I don't really look at the obvious. And tarot as a medium, as a visual medium, really relies on symbolism. That's what sparks off the connections in your head. That's how you connect. And it's one of the things that really sets my soul on fire about it, as a thing, tarot. It can be so much more than what lies on the surface. And that's what brings us to our first deck, which is The Lost Forest by Chelsea Santamaria Studios. You can love it, it's amazing. So I'm going to stop waffling now. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can have a look at what I'm seeing. And I hope that you fall in love with it to the same degree that I have. And so here we are, The Lost Forest. It's absolutely exquisite. I backed this on Kickstarter last year. You see it's limited edition, 319 of 700. The back of the deck is just as exquisite. There's been the same attention to detail on the backs as on the front, and I just love it for it. So let's start with the Major Arcana. This here so you can see it. Obviously, the first card, the Fool. Into the Mage, which is the Magician in a standard deck. And the Mystic, which I believe is the first card that actually, or the first piece of art that inspired this deck. I've got some bump about the creation of the deck that I'll read you in a second. But first I just want you to get a real sense of what this deck is all about. It's the Emperor. I had intended to do this alongside a standard Rider-Waite, but I honestly think that it just speaks for itself. And there's no need to compare and contrast because it's a real standalone thing. This depiction of the lovers is incredible. I really, really love it. We have the Chariot. Always happy to see a lion on anything. Strength. And I think that this is the best depiction of the cosmological force that can be a Leo that I've ever seen. The Hermit, which has a far more dangerous feel to it than we're accustomed to seeing. Two there. The Wheel of Fortune. And when I look at this, I don't know, I see the Golden Spiral, even though it's not here. Like, that's what it puts me in mind of. It's a mathematical feel that I get off that. And as you may or may not know, mathematics is the language of the universe. I wish I spoke it better. Justice. The Hanged Man. Death, which, according to the Tarot Association, in a survey that they undertook of 40,000 tarot readers, 97% said this was the card that they would go to first in any tarot deck when they decide whether or not they're buying it. And it's generally their favourite card, and I have to say, I'm part of the 97%. I love it. I absolutely love it. Temperance. The devil. The tower. The star. The moon. The sun. Judgment, which is such a fiery version of it, you know, it's this proper end of days kind of judgment. And the world, you know, which, being as it should be, is a reflection of the Wheel of Fortune. Absolutely exquisite. So we're going to move on to the minor arcana. And usually these are a little less impressive than the majors, certainly in my experience anyway. You know, there's a little less of visual interest in them. But this deck is an absolute exception to the rule. So Skies is the air or sword suit as it would be in a normal deck. Here's the ace. The 2. The 3. The 4. The 5. The 6. You see how it would be possible to be completely lost in this imagery? Like it's your mind will go where it wants to go when it sees this, and as a way of connecting to your higher self, I think that's absolutely incredible. It's not prescriptive in any way. It's very loose, actually, whilst managing to keep the characteristics of the suit, and certainly as far as I'm concerned anyway. The 10. Well, cosmological impact. And then we've got the court cards. The page. The knight. The queen. And the king. So that's the swords. And then to earth, obviously, it's the pentacles suit. So the ace of pentacles. 2 of pentacles. I just love foxes, so I was really happy to see those there. The 3. The 4. The 5. The 6. I love these little creatures up in there, up in the trees. 7. 8. 9. 10. And then the cord. I don't know what this little chap is down here, but he's really cool. The Knight of Pentacles. The Queen of Earth, or Pentacles. And the King. Truly stunning. And this is the picture that's on the front of the deck. I'm going to give you a little bit of background. I pulled this straight off Kickstarter actually, so this is the artist's words. Got the oceans to look at next, which is the cups. And she says that this project got started in May 2018 while she was talking to a friend of hers who was a psychotherapist. And she showed her an early version of the mystic, which was the High Priestess, as we saw in the Major Arcana. And this psychotherapist friend had suggested that the dark and dreamlike art style was reminiscent of tarot. Now, the artist recruited award-winning designer Gage Mitchell and then began on her journey of creating the Lost Forest Tarot deck. She says, like therapy, tarot can be a vehicle of self-discovery, and that I loved immediately. Like, that won me over, because that's very much how I perceive the tarot, and it's how I've used it in my life and how I try and use it to help other people. And it's a way to bring to your intuitive, to your consciousness, what your intuitive mind has always known. a way to see the path through hard times when everything else seems muddy and chaotic. It seeks to unbury the truth, and that's how I have always used the tarot. Tarot has an incredible way of focusing your mind on the important things and not the fluff that we get distracted with, you know, the things that seem important but actually really aren't. It's the Three of Cups there. Four. The Five. 6. 7. 8. 2 together. 9. 10. And then the Court. The Page. The Knight. The Queen. And the King. The artist has incorporated themes inspired by adventure fantasy, like The Legend of Zelda. I mean, kudos, we love that. Lord of the Rings, and the films of Hayao Miyazaki. An untried hero sets out, naive and optimistic, the 4 elements representing the 4 cardinal directions on a map to a place that exists only in the mind. This concept is demonstrated by the Fool, where great rewards may be at the end of a long, arduous journey, or certain death. For some, looking deep into the mind is deeply disturbing, while many others will emerge from such difficult introspection transformed. Not all will find a happy ending, but no reward is worth pursuing without some risk along the way. When you enter the lost forest, you bring nothing but yourself, but that is enough to overcome any adversity. I hope this tarot deck is the map that guides you through. Like, even without having seen the stunning visual imagery on these cards, I'd have been sold by that as a concept for a deck. So finally we've got what corresponds to the 1 suit, and that is just called Fire here. So we've got the Ace of Fire, the 2, the 3, 4, 5, 6. I just love that. I know it's a card of Leo and I'm kind of biased, but I love phoenixes as well. The 7, 8, 9, and the 10. And then, of course, the Court, Page, Knight. It looks a lot like my lizard, so I kind of like that. The Queen and the King. Now, some of you more eagle-eyed watchers amongst you might have noticed a certain continuity in the minor arcana, visual continuity, and this is something that I wasn't even aware of until I received the deck. I'm going to adjust the camera so that you can see the table properly, and I'm going to show you what they do because it's absolutely amazing. And this is what I was talking about. The artist has taken each of the ace to 10 elements and created a continuous story, a continuous journey that goes right the way through. Now, we often think about major arcana as being the Fool's journey, but the pips cards and the elements are no less a journey in themselves. And every card here, and every individual card, is beautifully and seamlessly connected to the one before. You know, there is a cycle starting from the ace and moving right through to the 10 in all of the suits. It's absolutely exquisite. I'm just going to pull the camera up a little bit so you can get a proper sense of it. And in every single element, she's managed to capture, I think, the power of the suit but with that also the danger that comes with it for every single element, you know, just as tarot cards have positive and negatives, you know, there's awesome power implied by all of these cards here when seen in this entirety, for good and for destruction, right? And I think it's possibly one of the most exquisite things I've ever seen. So I'm going to tie it up there because I don't want to leave you, keep you for longer than I have to. But I just really wanted to share this with you in the hope that we see this deck out there more, you know, than currently is the case. I'm absolutely in love with it, and I think you probably get a sense of that. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to put the links to the Chelsea Santamaria website in the description box, and probably the links to her Instagram as well. So you should go follow her if you like what you see here, because she is really a gifted artist, and what she's done, more than just paint pretty pictures, is capture the soul of tarot and redefine it, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, so you should totally go and check her out. All right, take care. See you next time.